I'm frequently on the road. I'm frequently in hotels. Right now I'm at Duke for my business school program. I've been here for about a week running only on the treadmill. In the past week, I've done everything from a threshold repeat workout up to a 16-mile long run on the treadmill, all while managing to stay fairly sane and engaged and have fun during those runs. So in this video, I'm gonna bring you some tips that you can implement into your own treadmill running. I'll also end the video by giving a few of my favorite treadmill workouts that you can do to mix it up a bit and add some spice into that treadmill running. Next time you're at a hotel, you do not have to dread getting on the treadmill, and maybe you'll even look forward to it. Alright guys, before we get into it, if you haven't checked out the Running Shoe Matcher tool yet, go to runningshoematcher.com. So I've spent a lot of time recently building a tool that will match you with the best running shoes for you. You answer 5 questions on your preferences in running shoes, what kind of style of training you're doing, what you're looking for in terms of soft shoe, firm shoe, daily trainer, or tempo shoe, and we'll match you with the best shoe for you. So if you haven't checked it out yet, go to runningshoematcher.com. Alright guys, let's get into it. So my first tip to make treadmill running a bit more tolerable is really about picking which treadmill to go on. So if you're going to the gym and you have a choice, always try to go for the one with the view. That's the thing that I do. If there's a TV there, I try to plant myself right in front of that TV. If there's a view, for example, this Holiday Inn in downtown Brooklyn that I go to has a treadmill that overlooks the pool. So it's probably about 100 degrees in there every time I'm in there, and it smells of chlorine, but there is a view of the hotel pool. So if you have a choice of which treadmill to go to, try to pick the one that has something engaging to look at. I've also been in hotels where they set up the treadmill right in front of a blank wall. That's really not the ideal situation. If that's the only one, then we can make it work, you know, we'll work with it. But if you have a choice, try to get something where it's a street view or a TV view or just anything. And my next tip is to add variation into your run. So even if you're not doing a specific workout, say you're on a rest day or an easy day, you can vary it up a little bit by, you know, starting out maybe at a slower pace and then gradually just slightly increasing the pace after a mile or two or every few miles, just to add a bit more variation. I found for me, it helps a lot when running on the treadmill to have different things to look forward to when the miles flip over. So instead of just being locked in on what distance am I at now, I can think, okay, when I get to mile 4, I'm gonna flip up the pace a little bit. And I think ahead, okay, when I get to mile 6, I'm gonna do this. So that chunks it up a little bit. That's the key thing. Even when I do long runs on the road, I have these kind of markers in my head where when I hit this point in the run, this is what I'm gonna do. Mentally, it helps break it up a little bit more than just saying, okay, I'm gonna go to the same place for an hour, be looking at the same section of paint on the wall for an hour while I knock out this run. That's what we want to avoid when we're thinking about treadmill running. Right, my next tip is to run with music. Now, I stopped running with music about a year ago. I found that I just love to go out and run in that complete quiet, just be alone with my thoughts, disconnect from everything. But when I'm on the treadmill, that is not the case. Sometimes I'll run without music on the treadmill. This morning, for example, I was just wanted to not have any distractions or not have anything in my head because I was working out some stuff, actually working out video topics. So I decided to go no music or super quiet music for the first 30 minutes of that run. But I found that music really helps me stay engaged, have something else to distract me from what can be the monotony of running on a treadmill. Now, sometimes I'll go for more relaxed music like Currency or Larry June. Other times I'll go for aggressive, upbeat trap music like Future. I've been listening to a lot of Babyface Ray and Lucky recently, so those have been my go-tos on the treadmill. But just having something to, you know, keep me engaged, keep me going into it, especially if I'm doing a tough workout like that threshold workout I did earlier this week. And I did a long run with 10 miles of marathon pace in there on the treadmill, so 100% need music in those on the treadmill to keep me into it, to have something to take my mind off the running and to pump me up a little bit. When I'm on the roads, I don't do it, but when I'm on the treadmill, it's a must-have. I guess another tip is to reset the meter. Now, when I say reset the meter, I mean literally just turn off the treadmill and turn it on again. This really helps me for longer runs when I'm doing 10 plus miles, because a lot of these treadmills, actually, they'll naturally only have a setting where you can run for 30 minutes or an hour. So being able to have that break, get it back, start to zero again and be like, okay, I'm gonna do 5 miles for this first half, then 5 miles for the second half. Again, it helps it chunk up the run a little bit and break it up so there's a little bit more variation in there. Alternatively, if your treadmill doesn't naturally reset after an hour, or what I mean by reset is a lot of these are programmed to only let you run for an hour and then it counts down. If that doesn't happen, you can also just re-tap your watch or start a new session on your watch to break it up a little bit more. Maybe say, okay, I'm gonna do this first half of this run at a certain pace, click your watch, and then I'm gonna do the second half of this run as its own segment. Again, what we want to do here is introduce little elements here that mentally help us think of the run in sections. All right, guys, now my last tip here is to do a workout. If you can, if you don't need a rest day, I would highly recommend to use the treadmill as an opportunity to do a workout, because again, it introduces that variation into the run and just makes it a lot easier to get through that mileage when you have different mile markers to look forward to know something is gonna happen. So let me give you a few of my favorite treadmill workouts. The first one is mile on, mile off. So what that is every mile change the pace. So first mile, do it at an 8-minute pace. Second mile, do it at a 7:30 pace. Third mile, do it at an 8-minute pace. So get faster and slower, faster and slower. You can even do this strictly in your aerobic running zone, but that little bit of variation makes it a lot more fun and introduces the same stimulus you'd get naturally running. Because if you think about running in a neighborhood or on the trails, you're gonna be going up and down, going around corners and bends, all of which introduce different effects on the level of effort that we have in our heart rate. So I run in a very hilly neighborhood. My heart rate can vary by 20 to 30 beats per minute in that run because of the effort that I have to expend going up those hills. So doing a little bit of variation on the treadmill can mimic that and make it a lot more fun. My second workout that I recommend on the treadmill is a progression. So again, starting off at a recovery pace or an aerobic pace, and each mile increasing the speed up until we get to our safe working speed for that day. If you're feeling a bit beat up, probably don't want to get much faster than marathon pace, but if you're rested, if you're recovered, and this is a scheduled workout day for you where you've done an easy running day before, then you could take this all the way up to 10K or even 5K pace. This is a really fun workout to do with a fast finish. I find it's a bit easier for me to hit my fastest paces for a sustained period of time on the treadmill, just because all you have to do to go faster is press a little button, right? And then if you're at a pace that you know how to run, your legs will do that work for you. You're not going to fall off the treadmill, hopefully. I don't know, maybe you should check with a doctor or something, just saying a disclaimer so I don't get sued for someone falling off a treadmill. But a great way to push yourself while introducing a bit of more fun into that run, and fast finishing runs in general is a great way to build your fitness, because you're introducing more fatigue and stimulus into the end of those runs when your body's already tired. All right, guys, the last workout I recommend to do on the treadmill is just a simple tempo workout. So if you're gonna do a 6-mile run, maybe do a mile warm up, a mile cool down, and a 4-mile tempo. So 4 miles at marathon pace in there. What I find this does is, again, it makes the run almost like a 4-mile run only instead of a 6-mile run. Mentally, right? I'm thinking, okay, this first mile, I'm just warming up. I'm just looking forward to that mile 2. And then as I get into the run, I'm clipping out through the miles. And then last mile is just a cool down. I feel like I'm done at that point. And it's a lot easier to run that easy cool down mile after you've knocked out 4 miles of marathon pace. All right, guys, so those are my tips to make treadmill running more tolerable. I used to absolutely hate the treadmill, and through implementing some of these into my training, I've grown to really love it as a tool in training. And that's how I view it as anything else, right? Shoes, nutrition, gear, music. These are all different tools that we can introduce into our running to help us where we need them. So for example, I've been in this hotel at Duke for the past week, and I've been doing minimum 10 miles in the morning, and I know I don't want to try to go out and find a route where I can do 10 miles when I have class and other commitments going on, and I just want to make it simple and easy. So the treadmill is a great tool that enables that convenience and allows me to manage my schedule a bit better. So similar to you, if you're traveling or you have a treadmill at home and you can't leave the house because your kids are sleeping, again, a great tool to support that training. So if you're a big treadmill runner, let me know in the comments what your tips are. I would love to learn from you and implement some of those tips in my own training. All right, guys, thank you for watching. As always, I appreciate the like, I appreciate the subscription, and I'll make sure to keep you up to date on the latest and greatest in the world of performance running.